The Stream That Follows You, Part 1. The Video That Shouldn't Exist. I'm going to start this the same way the police asked me to start my written statement, from the moment I clicked play, because everything before that moment feels irrelevant now. It feels like it belonged to another life, another version of myself that didn't understand how fragile reality is, or how easily something can force its way into it. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm a 29-year-old paramedic in Queens, and I swear under oath that the video I'm about to describe wasn't a prank, wasn't edited, wasn't fake, and definitely wasn't something that should have been recommended to me by any normal algorithm. But that's what happened. On Friday the 13th, at exactly 12:13 a.m., YouTube autoplayed a video that didn't have a channel name, didn't have a title, didn't have a thumbnail, and didn't have a duration bar. The screen simply said, "Recommended for you because you watched nothing." That was the first sign something was wrong. I'd been lying on my couch half asleep, letting random horror narrations play in the background while I scrolled through my phone. I wasn't even paying attention when the previous video ended. Then, the TV glitched. The sound cracked, and the screen turned black for 2 long seconds. At first, I thought maybe the Wi-Fi had dropped, or the app crashed. But then, the video started playing. No music, no intro. Just footage. It was filmed in a dark room. The camera was angled low as if placed on the floor and pointing toward a bed. My bed. Not one like mine. My actual bed. I recognized the chipped paint on the left bedpost, the uneven slant in the headboard, the navy sheets I bought on sale at Target 2 years ago. For the first few seconds, I stared at the screen frozen, too confused to be scared. My brain fought to find a logical explanation. A prank? No one had access to my apartment. A hack? Then why would they live stream my bedroom? A coincidence? Impossible. Every detail matched. I kept watching. The room in the video was dim, lit only by the blinking red glow of my alarm clock, 1:08 a.m. I looked to my right, at my real alarm clock, on the side table. It read 12:13 a.m. So the video was recorded 55 minutes in the future. My chest tightened. I sat up straight. Whoever was filming the room wasn't moving. There were no footsteps, no breathing, no shadows. Just stillness. And then, it happened. From under the bed, my bed, something shifted. A hand slid out first. Not a human hand. The fingers were too long, too thin, almost branching at the joints like broken twigs. Then a second hand. Then a head. Pale. Angled wrong. With eyes so wide and reflective they looked like wet glass. It crawled out slowly, pulling itself forward like a starving animal. And then it stood upright, nearly scraping the ceiling, and turned toward the camera. Toward me. Its jaw opened far too wide, stretching, splitting, trembling like something trying to mimic a smile. I felt my stomach twist. My skin went cold, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. Then the creature leaned down, its face filling the screen, and whispered, "You should not be watching this." The video cut to black. I stared at the TV, heart racing, waiting for something else to happen. A jump scare, a laugh track, a glitch. Nothing. Just the normal YouTube interface reappearing, as if the video had never played. No title, no history entry, no link to share, no channel to report. And when I tried scrolling back, the timestamp bar showed nothing had been played at all. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Do not go to sleep. I threw the phone onto the couch like it had burned me. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, by sunrise, I had convinced myself I'd hallucinated some part of it. Working 24-hour EMS shifts messes with your head. Maybe I'd fallen asleep and dreamed it. Maybe it was a half-lucid nightmare triggered by the horror videos I'd been listening to. That was the explanation I held on to as I showered, dressed, and headed into the station. I even told my coworker Lewis during our morning rig check, "Bro, you need sleep. Your brain cooked itself. You've been doing doubles all week." Yeah, I agreed, even though I didn't believe it. Probably. I didn't mention the number that had texted me, or the creature that had crawled out from under my bed, or the fact that the camera angle had been perfect. Too perfect. Like someone had slid a phone under my bed on purpose. It was easier to pretend it hadn't happened. But the universe didn't let me pretend for long. The first call of the day. At 10:41 a.m., we were dispatched to a residential address in Astoria for a possible unconscious male. Pretty standard. We arrived, grabbed our gear, headed up to the second floor, and found the landlord pacing in the hallway. She's been screaming all night, then suddenly it stopped. "I don't want to open the door." Lewis knocked loudly. "FDNY EMS, anyone inside?" Silence. He tried the door, unlocked. Inside, the apartment smelled like sweat and fear, and something else, metallic, like blood, but not exactly. The living room was dark, curtains pulled shut, and the TV screen glowed faintly with a paused video. The timestamp bar had no markers. The screen had no title, and the thumbnail showed a dimly lit bedroom. My stomach dropped. Not my bedroom this time, but similar. Too similar. "Daniel, we got him!" The man lay on the floor, curled into the corner, eyes open, but unresponsive. Catatonic. His fingernails were torn from clawing at the hardwood floor, and on the wall behind him, scratched in frantic, uneven strokes, were the words, "Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't watch it." Over and over, dozens of times. Lewis radioed for backup, but I couldn't look away from the TV. The paused frame showed a figure emerging from under a bed. Long-fingered, wrong proportions, reflective eyes. The same thing I'd seen the night before. "Hey, Daniel, you good?" I nodded, though I wasn't. Because I knew that whatever happened to this man was connected to what I saw. The second video. After we transported the guy to the hospital, I went home early. I needed to check my apartment. My bed, under my bed. When I got inside, everything looked normal. I forced myself to kneel beside the mattress. I lifted the sheet. Nothing underneath, just dust and storage boxes. I sat back, exhaling shakily. Then my TV turned on by itself. Volume low, screen glowing. YouTube app opened, and instead of the home page, it went straight into a video. No title, No channel. No thumbnail. Just footage. Footage of me. The angle was from inside my hallway entrance, like a camera had been placed behind my bookshelf. The video showed me coming home 10 seconds ago, closing the door, dropping my keys, walking toward the bedroom. Watching myself in third person made my skin crawl. I picked up the remote and hit pause. The screen froze. I hit the home button. Nothing happened. I hit it again. Then again. No response. The remote wasn't malfunctioning. The TV was ignoring me. The video unpaused by itself. It continued showing me walking into my bedroom, moving toward the bed, kneeling down to check underneath. And behind the me on the screen, in the hallway, something moved. Something tall, crooked, too close to the camera, as if leaning directly into the lens. I whipped around in my real hallway. Empty. The video zoomed slightly. The creature's eyes reflected like a cat's in headlights, only there was no light. Just darkness behind it. And then the recording reached the part happening now, me sitting on the floor, staring in horror at the TV. The me on screen looked directly into the camera and whispered, "It's already inside." The TV turned off. The mirror. I didn't move for almost 10 minutes. Didn't breathe right. Didn't think straight. Every instinct screamed at me to leave the apartment, run out into the street, never return. I should have listened. I wish I had. Instead, I stood up and walked to the bathroom sink to splash water on my face. When I looked into the mirror, the reflection was normal. For a moment. Then, slowly, like something pushing its way through a sheet of fabric, a shape rose into view under my bed in the reflection behind me. I spun around. Nothing in the real room. I looked back at the mirror. There it was. A pale arm sliding into sight. A head tilted sideways in that unnatural, broken doll angle. It stared at me through the glass, but not through reality, just the reflection. I backed away until my shoulders hit the hallway wall. The thing crawled closer in the mirror, but not in the room. Its hand stretched out, pressing against the other side of the mirror's surface. And then, faintly, muffled through whatever space separated our worlds, I heard it whisper, "Midnight. I will crawl into the real one at midnight. Do not sleep." Every light in my apartment flickered violently. My phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look, but I did. A text from the same unknown number. It comes through when your eyes are closed. Do not blink too long. That was 3 days ago. I haven't slept since. The final straw. Tonight is Friday the 13th again. The next one. It's 9:47 p.m. I'm writing this from the corner of my living room with every lamp turned on and my back pressed against the wall. I can hear noises from the bedroom. Scraping. dragging, something bumping against the bed frame. If I listen too long, it sounds like words, like something trying to mimic my name. The TV turned on again 15 minutes ago. It played another video. Not the future this time. Not a reflection. This one was filmed in the present. A live feed. Not of me, not of my apartment, but of my neighbor. She was sleeping peacefully, and something was crawling out from under her bed. This thing isn't following me. It's spreading, and I don't think it'll stop until... The scraping in my bedroom just got louder. Something just crawled out. I can hear it. The shadow in the signal. 1. The glitch that followed him. Andrew hadn't slept. Not really. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that thing from the live stream, the warped face that wasn't his father's, the black, empty pupils, the static dripping from the mouth like smoke. By morning, his apartment felt wrong. Like someone else had been walking around inside it while he slept. The light switch crackled when he touched it. The hallway felt 1 degree colder than usual. His phone vibrated, even though 0 notifications were on the screen. It was subtle, but unmistakable. The glitch had followed him. He sat at the edge of his bed, elbows on his knees, staring at the phone like it was a time bomb. Because it was. The VHS digitized video, the old corrupted file, the strange live stream that appeared at 3:13 a.m., none of it felt random anymore. It felt designed, tailored. A message for him alone. But from who? Or worse, from what? He checked his laptop. The screen flickered once, then stabilized. Good. He had work to do today. He needed to keep his routine, pretend he was normal, pretend nothing had followed him out of that cursed tape. He opened his browser. Stopped breathing. Because the home page, which he never changed, now showed a single black screen with a line of text. Did you sleep, Andrew? He slammed the laptop shut so hard that dust lifted from the table. His heart hammered, his mouth went dry. Someone, or something, was in his system. Not just watching, communicating. No more ignoring it. No more pretending it was just a glitch. There was intention behind it, and whatever it was, wanted his attention. 2. The decaying frames. Andrew forced himself to reopen the laptop. The screen was normal again. No black page, no message. But he didn't believe that meant anything good. He typed slowly. VHS glitch explained. Supernatural live stream 3:13 a.m. Algorithmic haunting real? AI ghost urban legends. Most results were jokes, creepypastas, garbage clickbait. But one forum thread caught his eye. Digital decay phenomenon. The entity inside the frame. It was old, 2009, barely any replies, but the original poster wrote something that made Andrew's skin crawl. If a corrupted VHS tape is digitized improperly, the distortion can create a recursive pattern, a loop inside the frames. Sometimes it produces images not present in the original footage. Faces, shapes, mimics. They are not encoding errors, they are emergent. Another user had replied, "My cousin digitized old investigation tapes once. Same thing. He said the glitch was looking at him." A third, "It learns the viewer's face." Andrew shut the page. No, he wasn't going down that rabbit hole. He grabbed the cursed VHS, still sitting on his desk. Just touching it made his fingers prickle, like static was crawling under his skin. He forced himself to study the label. Friday 13th, 1:13 a.m. footage. His father's handwriting. A memory flickered. His father hunched over the basement table, staring into a small CRT monitor, scrubbing through old tapes with a look he never explained. Why had his father recorded a timestamp? Why this specific tape? The phone buzzed again. He looked. The screen displayed a single video thumbnail. Watch again? It was the same corrupted live stream that had appeared the night before, except one detail had changed. The thumbnail now showed a still frame of his own bedroom. And in the doorway, half hidden in darkness, a tall, distorted silhouette. Andrew felt cold from the inside out. No. He covered the phone with his hand like it could see him. His pulse roared in his ears. He hadn't recorded his room. He hadn't uploaded anything. He hadn't allowed camera access to anything. So how? The phone buzzed again. And again. Each buzz sharper than the last, like a demand. When he finally checked it again, a new line of text glowed on the screen. "Because you watched it." He threw the phone across the room. This wasn't random. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't a malfunction. This thing was sentient. 3. The investigator. He needed help, real help, someone who wouldn't call him crazy. Luckily, he knew exactly who that was. He drove across town to the dim, cluttered storefront of Loreline Paranormal Research, owned by Mira Sutton, an ex-investigative journalist turned fringe researcher. The bell over the door jingled as he walked in. Mira looked up from her desk, red hair tied in a messy knot, 3 monitors glowing with different spectrograms and audio traces. She squinted at him. "Jesus, you look like you crawled out of a haunted microwave. Funny, I think one actually tried to kill me." "Okay," she said, leaning forward. "Now you've got my attention." He showed her the VHS tape. Her eyebrows lifted. Analog media haunting. Rare, but not unheard of. He told her everything. The live stream, the glitch face, the messages, the bedroom thumbnail. She didn't interrupt once. When she finished, she exhaled slowly. "So whatever's on that tape, it's not just data, it's active." "What does that even mean?" Andrew asked. "Think of it like this." Mira tapped her temple. "If consciousness is a pattern, and patterns can be encoded, then a strong enough emotional event might imprint something into the magnetic tape. Not a ghost, more like a digital echo. But why is it targeting me?" She shrugged. "Maybe because you watched it, maybe because it recognizes you." He swallowed hard. "You can help, right?" Mira hesitated, and that alone terrified him. "This isn't normal,"
she admitted. "This is advanced. Old tech hauntings don't usually follow the viewer. They stay bound to the medium. So this one broke the rules?" Her voice softened. "Yes." She reached for the VHS. The moment she touched it, all 3 monitors in the office shut off at once. A thick wave of static crackled through the speakers. Then the middle monitor turned back on, displaying a single, zoomed-in frame of a black pupil. Mira froze. "That wasn't my system," she whispered. The pupil dilated, slowly, deliberately, like it was recognizing her. Andrew took a step back. "Turn it off." "I can't. It's controlling the output signal." The pupil shifted, no longer looking forward, but now up, as if looking directly at them. The speakers played a distorted, breathy sound, almost a word, almost a whisper. Then the monitor went black again. Mira backed away from the desk. "Okay," she said quietly. "This is worse than I thought." 4. The footage within the footage. Mira set up an old CRT TV and a protected digitizer rig. If we play the tape through analog equipment, the entity will have less control. Newer digital systems give it too much freedom. She clicked on the TV. Static. She inserted the VHS. The tape clicked, whirred, and began to play. The image flickered. Black and white footage of a dim street. Timestamp, 1:13 a.m. A distant figure walking alone. Mira leaned closer. "Do you recognize the street?" Andrew had his head. But something about the lampposts looked familiar. The figure moved closer in the grainy frame. Step by step, slow, uneven, like each movement was being overwritten in real time. The static deepened. The figure's outline twisted. The head snapped sideways, too fast for human bone. Mira tensed. This distortion is impossible. It's writing new frames. The figure stopped in the middle of the street, turned toward the camera, and smiled. It was the same face from the live stream, the warped, hollow-eyed thing that pretended to be his father. Except this time, it raised a hand and pointed. Not at the old VHS camera, at them. The TV crackled. The picture warped. The figure's mouth stretched wider. Wider. Too wide. And the speakers emitted a sound that made Andrew clutch his ears. A low, oscillating hum that felt like pressure inside the skull. Mira slapped the power switch. The TV snapped off. Silence. Then, knock. Both of them jumped. Another knock. The sound came from Mira's office door. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Mira whispered, "We're not expecting anyone." Andrew felt everything inside him go cold. "Don't open it," he said. Mira nodded. The knocking stopped. But after 3 seconds, a new sound replaced it. A scraping, like nails dragging across wood. Then, a voice. Not outside, inside the office speakers. A deep, warped whisper. "Open the door, Andrew." Vive, the entity crosses over. "Unplug everything," Mira yelled. Andrew yanked cords from outlets, ripping power from every device. Monitors went black, lights flickered. But the voice didn't stop. "Open it." The voice wasn't coming from electronics anymore. It was coming from the walls,
Andrew backed up until he hit a shelf of EMF meters and dusty books. No, no, no. Mira grabbed his arm. We need to leave, now. They moved toward the back door, but as they approached it, the doorknob turned on its own. Slowly. Click. The door eased open. Pitch black on the other side. A tall silhouette filled the doorway. Long arms, bent head, eyes like hollow tunnels. For a second, Andrew's body locked. His brain froze. His legs forgot how to move. The entity stepped forward. Mira screamed, grabbed Andrew, and shoved him behind a metal filing cabinet. She threw salt across the floor and slammed a heavy magnetic panel against the doorframe. The entity hit the invisible barrier with a hiss like acid. Static sprayed across the room like sparks. Mira panted. This shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be able to manifest physically. But the silhouette pressed harder. The barrier cracked like glass. One long, warped hand reached through. Andrew gagged. Its fingers were made of VHS tape. Thin magnetic strips unfurling like tendrils, covered in spliced images and screaming, flickering mouths. The entity whispered, "You watched me. Now I watch you." The barrier shattered. The entity surged through. Mira grabbed Andrew and dragged him through the back hall, shoving shelves aside, knocking over boxes, sprinting toward the emergency exit. The entity scraped along the floor behind them, long limbs clattering like wet film reels. Andrew could hear its breathing, like static inhaling. Mira kicked the door open. Cold air hit them. They ran into the alley. But when Andrew looked back, the entity was already stepping out after them. VI, the final message. They made it to Andrew's car, slammed the doors, locked them. Andrew struggled to breathe. His hands shook on the wheel. Mira gasped, "Drive! Drive!" He sped down the alley, screeching onto the main road, not daring to look in the mirrors. But he didn't have to. His phone lit up on its own. A new video. A new thumbnail. This time, it showed both of them inside the car from a viewpoint behind the back seat. Mira stared in horror. It's already here. Andrew felt tears blur his vision. The video title changed on the screen. Episode 2, The Escape That Failed. Mira whispered, "It's predicting the future." The video began autoplaying. Andrew swiped at it, trying to close it, but the screen wouldn't respond. Instead, new text appeared. "You can't outrun a signal." Suddenly, the radio turned on by itself. White noise. Then a voice inside the static. "Turn around." The temperature in the car dropped. Andrew's breath fogged. The back seat creaked. Slowly, like something was shifting its weight. Mira turned pale. "Andrew?" Andrew didn't turn around. He couldn't, but he could see it in the rearview mirror. A shape. A shadow. A figure with hollow eyes and VHS tape fingers rising slowly behind them. The phone buzzed one last time. A final message on the screen. Part 3 begins now. The entity outside the frame. 1. The moment the mirror broke. Andrew didn't breathe. He couldn't. Because in the rearview mirror, the entity was seated in the back seat like a passenger who had been there the entire time. Its head was lowered, its limbs impossibly long, VHS tape strips dangling from its fingers like wet ribbons. The mirror flickered, not because of the car's vibration, but because the reflection itself was glitching. The creature raised its head. Static began dripping from its mouth, pixelating the air around it. Mira whispered, "Don't turn. Don't look at it directly." Andrew kept his eyes glued forward, hands locked on the steering wheel. The radio crackled. A voice whispered through a veil of distortion. "Look in the mirror." Andrew's pulse slammed inside his skull. Sweat ran down his temples, his breathing sharp, panicked, shallow. "No," Mira said firmly. "It can only fully manifest if you give it attention. Don't let it anchor." But Andrew already felt it anchoring, already felt it gaining weight in the car, already felt the air tightening around him, compressing, contorting, like the digital world was collapsing into this one point. The car's interior lights flickered with pixelated artifacts. The dashboard display warped into colored bars. A faint VHS hum vibrated underneath them. Then, the rearview mirror shattered. Not from impact, not from contact, from signal distortion. It pixelated inward, then fragmented outward like a glitch exploding into reality. Andrew screamed. Mira screamed. The entity lunged forward. 2. The escape into the dead zone. "Out!" Mira yelled. Andrew slammed the brakes. They tumbled out of the car and onto the asphalt. The creature pushed against the back seat window, distorting the glass like it was made of jelly. "We need to get somewhere without signal, now." Andrew's car radio turned on by itself, blasting with corrupted whispers. "There is no without signal." They ran, feet pounding the pavement, lungs burning, turning down side streets, alleyways, crossing between dumpsters, slipping behind warehouses. Mira pulled Andrew's arm. "This way!" They burst into an industrial zone where cell towers didn't reach, a dead signal pocket known among locals for terrible reception. Mira skidded to a stop inside a fenced, abandoned textile mill. The moment they entered the building, their phones died. No glitch, no message, just silence. Andrew collapsed behind a beam, chest heaving. "Is it gone?" "No, but it can't track us as easily. Not without data, not without signal strength." She pulled equipment from her bag. 2 old radios, a small electromagnetic disruptor, salt, chalk, and a thick notebook with runes and circuit patterns drawn together. "What is that?" Andrew asked. "Something I've been working on for a long time, for entities that exist between mediums." He stared at her. "You knew this was possible?" "I didn't think it would ever fully manifest. Not like this." Thunder rumbled outside. The building groaned. For a moment, everything was calm. Then, the overhead lights flickered. Dimmed. Flickered again. Then, shut off. Complete darkness. Mira whispered. It found another way in. A soft sound echoed in the darkness. Click. 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 Like a projector warming up. A faint glow appeared against the far wall. A rectangle of light. Flickering. Jumping. Distorted. A projection. Not from a device. There was no projector.
The light came from nowhere, a frame in the air, like a video window punched through reality. On the projected surface, grainy black and white footage showed Andrew and Mira inside the textile mill. Andrew's stomach dropped. "That's us," he whispered. But then, on the projection, behind their filmed selves, the silhouette of the entity stepped into frame. Closer, closer, closer. Mira grabbed Andrew's hand. "Don't let it touch the projection. If it merges with its reflection, it can anchor fully." The entity raised its VHS strip arm. Andrew felt something cold brush the back of his neck. He yelped. Mira activated the electromagnetic disruptor. It sparked violently, sending a wave through the room. The projection sputtered, glitched, collapsed inward. But the darkness behind them moved, shifted, as if something huge was changing shape. Mira pointed to a side hallway. "Run!" IV, the camera obsession. They sprinted through the hall, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Andrew looked back and wished he hadn't. The entity was crawling along the ceiling, limbs bent at impossible angles. Every movement created a burst of static that pixelated reality itself. When it exhaled, the air rippled like a corrupted frame. "It's learning faster," Mira panted. "It understands the rules of our world now." "Then how do we stop it?" "We don't destroy it, we confine it." "To what?" She looked at him, eyes intense. "To what it wants most." Andrew didn't understand, but he knew one thing. The entity wasn't chasing Mira, it was chasing him. He felt it, the pull, the thread between them. He thought of all the times the messages had addressed him by name. He thought of the thumbnails showing him, but not Mira. He thought of the voice whispering, "You watched me, now I watched you." It followed the viewer. The viewer became part of the loop. That meant, "It wants me," Andrew whispered. "Yes," Mira said, "but we'll use that." They reached the very back of the mill, a storage room with no windows, thick walls, and far beneath ground level. A perfect analog dead zone. Mira slapped chalk lines and salt across the floor, forming a crude circle with sigils merging digital symbols and ancient protective patterns. She placed an old CRT television in the center. "Get in the circle."
Andrew stepped in. "You're gonna trap it inside the TV?" "No," she said. "You are." "What?" Mira's hands trembled as she hooked the CRT to the disruptor. Entities inside the signal operate by recursion. They loop frames, they echo. They need a viewer to anchor themselves. "So, if I stop watching, it loses its frame," Mira said. "But if we force it into only one frame, one closed loop, we separate it from reality." Andrew swallowed hard. "What's the catch?" Mira didn't answer. Because the lights flickered, buzzed, exploded into darkness. A hiss echoed through the room, like tape unspooling. Then footsteps. Light returned in grainy, static pulses, like someone banging on an old antenna. Each flicker revealed the entity closer, at the doorway, then halfway into the room, then inches behind Andrew, VHS strips brushing his neck. The voice rippled through all directions. "Watch me." Andrew forced himself not to turn, but the creature leaned forward until its face was beside his ear. It whispered, "Watch what comes next." The CRT TV powered on, by itself. The screen displayed Andrew standing in the chalk circle. Then the entity stepped into the frame behind him.
in the TV. Not real, just in the reflection. Mira screamed, "Now! Don't look away!" Andrew stared at the screen, stared at the creature in the reflection, stared as it crawled toward the TV version of him. Closer, closer, closer. The entity pounced into the reflection, into the screen. The TV shook violently. Sparks burst from the back. The light inside it twisted like a dying star. Mira hit the disruptor. The chalk circle glowed. A wind like pure static tore through the room. The CRT screamed. Then, silence. Total silence.
The TV went black. The temperature normalized. The entity was gone. Andrew collapsed to his knees, shaking, gasping, sobbing. Mira smiled weakly. It worked. We fragmented its anchor. Andrew breathed in relief. For the first time in days, he felt human again. Alive, safe. The aftermath that wasn't. They waited 20 minutes before standing, another 10 before turning lights back on. Everything looked normal. Dead, silent CRT. Stable air. No static. Mira exhaled slowly. "You're free." Andrew nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you. I don't know what I would have..." His phone buzzed. Both of them froze. "Andrew," Mira whispered. "Impossible," Andrew said, his voice shaking. "There's no signal down here." The phone buzzed again. A notification appeared. A single video. The thumbnail showed Andrew in the chalk circle. And behind him, in the room, not the TV, the entity slowly standing back up. Andrew's breath vanished. No. The video autoplayed. The audio was low, distorted, but clear. "Did you really think it ended there?" The chalk circle broke apart. The disruptor sparked uselessly. The creature stepped fully back into the real world. Andrew dropped the phone. The lights flickered, blackened. Mira grabbed his arm. "Run!" But the room was already warping, pixelating, breaking apart, reality bending like stretched tape. The entity's voice filled every square inch of existence. A story only ends when the viewer stops watching. The world collapsed into static. Everything went black. Final frame. A phone lay on the concrete floor of an abandoned textile mill. Its cracked screen showed a paused video. Andrew standing in an infinite digital void, surrounded by looping, corrupted frames. His image repeating into eternity. Eyes empty. Mouth open in a silent scream. A new line of text appeared on the screen. Episode 3, complete. Then, "Would you like to watch again?" The screen glitched. A final message appeared. Some viewers never escape. Play. The video waited, breathing, waiting for someone new to hit play.